Have you ever wondered what your clothes are saying about you before you even open your mouth? That's not just a fashion question. That's survival in the classroom. Day one, a colleague of mine thought he had it all figured out. Pressed khakis, polo shirt, the clean but casual look. Well, 5 minutes into class, a student raised their hand and said, "Are you our new PE teacher?" Let's just say he realized fast that what feels appropriate might send the wrong message in a school setting. By the end of this podcast, you're going to know how to strike the balance between being professional and approachable, why dressing appropriately can actually help you manage your classroom, no doubt about it, and some practical tips that'll keep you comfortable while still looking like the leader of the room. Welcome to the Teacher Rockstar Podcast, the podcast that's dedicated to providing valuable insights, practical tips, and best practices so that you can be successful in the classroom. I'm your host, Steve Hiles, a veteran teacher, and today we're talking about what your teaching outfit says before you even speak. There's one clothing mistake almost every first-year teacher makes, and I'm going to tell you what it is and how to avoid it before we wrap up here. All right, moving on. Point number one, first impressions matter. I'm sure you've heard that many times before. So we're going to start here. It takes less than 7 seconds for someone to form an impression of you. That means before you even introduce yourself, your students, your parents, and administrators have already made a snap judgment about you. Now, why is that? Well, clothing is nonverbal communication. It says a lot about you. It tells your students if you mean business. It tells parents whether you seem trustworthy. And it tells administrators if you're professional. I want you to think of it like classroom management insurance. If you walk in looking like a peer instead of a leader, now you're going to spend more time fighting for authority. I can promise you that. But if you look like the teacher, half the battle is already won. Story time. A friend of mine wore jeans and a hoodie his first week. Why? He wanted to connect with his middle schoolers. Now, within days, his students tested every single boundary possible. Why? Because he looked like one of them. He didn't look like the teacher in charge, if that makes sense.
The Teacher Rockstar Academy course is meticulously designed to equip you with the tools and strategies needed to skyrocket your effectiveness as a teacher. Curious to know if the Teacher Rockstar Academy course is the missing piece in your teaching journey? If you're ready to reclaim control of your classroom and witness the incredible impact on your students, then use the link in the podcast description to learn more about this program.
Moving on to my next point. Professional doesn't mean uncomfortable. I want to take this moment to bust a myth. Dressing appropriately doesn't mean dressing uncomfortably. You don't have to wear three-piece suits or high heels just to command respect. Common horse sense here. The key is balance. Professional, but practical. For example, shoes. Let's face it, you're going to be on your feet most of the day. Invest in a pair that looks sharp but feels like sneakers, okay? I want you to imagine something. Imagine this. What if you wore sweatpants to back-to-school night? Parents walk in, see you rocking your Netflix and chill outfit. Would they feel confident about you teaching their child algebra? I mean, do you think so? I don't think so. See, clothing isn't just fabric. It's part of your teaching strategy. Here's another quick analogy. I want you to think of your clothing as your armor. Knights wore metal to protect themselves in battle. Teachers, we wear slacks, blouses, or button-downs to protect our credibility. Good point to remember here. All right, now the next and final thing I want to address here is know your school culture. Here's something that most first-year teachers miss. Every school has its own culture. Okay, what's professional at one school might not be at another. Okay, might be considered overdressed at another school. So, for example, in some suburban schools, men wear collared shirts with ties daily and women wear formal dresses. In other schools, khakis and polos are the norm. So before you go shop around for a brand new wardrobe set, pay attention. Look around, okay? I want you to see what veteran teachers are wearing in the school that you will be teaching at. Here's a quick stat I want to share with you. A survey of HR professionals found that 80% believe employees who dress more professionally are perceived as more competent. Okay? Now, word to the wise here. Even if your school is casual, lean a little more professional until you know the culture. Now, here's a personal tip. I always kept a blazer in my classroom closet, okay? On normal days, I was business casual. I mean, I wore collared shirt, a tie, dress slacks, and highly shined shoes, okay, that were comfortable. But if I had a parent meeting or unexpected observation, boom, blazer on. Instant upgrade, okay? So that would be a great point to remember at any rate. Now, remember that clothing mistake I mentioned earlier? Here it is. Trying too hard to look cool instead of professional. Big mistake. It backfires on you every single time. Students don't need you to be their fashion twin. I assure you of that. They need you to be their teacher. So here's the takeaway. Dress like the authority you are. Choose professional comfort and pay attention to your school culture. Okay, I promise you, when you do that, your clothing stops being a distraction and starts being a tool for success. You're empowered now. You don't have to guess. You've got practical tips you can apply starting tomorrow. Now, if this episode hit home, pass it along to a fellow teacher who could use the boost. Sharing is how we all survive that first year. Well, that is a wrap for us. We will see you same time, same place next week. And remember, my friend, you got this.
You've been listening to the Teacher Rockstar Podcast with your host, Steve Hiles. We hope you've enjoyed this podcast as much as we have. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our ever-growing community of Teacher Rockstars. Until then, thanks for listening.